नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नश्टकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमपदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामने गौतुसे नमः। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, we welcome everyone for today morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We have been reading from, or we recently started in fact, third canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we're going to discuss the third chapter of this third canto, which is a part of our Bhagavat Life program, wherein every week we try to discuss one chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So two cantos are done, and we have begun our journey with the third canto. Chapter 3, titled as The Lord's Pastimes Out of Vrindavan. This chapter has around 28 verses, wherein here now Uddhavji would discuss or briefly touch upon Lord Shri Krishna pastimes in Mathura and Dwarka. Vrindavan already discussed in the previous chapter, in Mathura and Dwarka. So just to give you a little background, in case if you're attending for the first time or else considering Kali Yuga memory, after too much break, it always becomes fresh. So nonetheless, Vidurji met Uddhavji and he inquired about the well-being of Krishna, Balram, Yadu, Pandavas, etc. And when Uddhavji heard the name of Krishna, he went into trance. We talked about it, what it means to be last time when we met. And then he began to speak about Krishna. He went into ecstasy of remembrance where different pastimes are coming to his mind and he's speaking about it. The very first thing to note is it is not chronologically. It's not in chronology. I believe I spoke about, right, that how the relationship of a pure devotee and the Lord is not logical. It doesn't follow any logic. So when you're reading a text like Srimad Bhagavatam, this is a text of rasa. This is not a scholarly presentation. A text of rasa means where rasa supersedes your scholarly presentation. Yet there is scholarly presentation, but it is definitely missing out. One aspect of scholarly presentation is chronologically presenting the events. So why chronologically is not been presented? Just because the speaker, when in ecstasy, well, we have no experience of ecstasy, so what to say of it? I can't give you an example, relatable example, but yes, I can give you one relatable example. When you are in ecstasy of grief, we have had that. If not, ladies have that experience often, or once in a while. When you're in ecstasy of grief, then you would notice, then suddenly 10 साल का किस्सा याद आ जाता है. 10 साल पहले ऐसा हुआ था, फिर समटाइम 5 साल पहला किस्सा, then 2 हफ्ते पहला वाला किस्सा, and the story goes on randomly, and the listener is thinking क्या कहना चाहते हो भाई, मतलब बहन जी, not भाई, यहाँ तो क्या बोलना चाहते हो, बताओ, what is your intention? So there is no chronology. This is the aspect of feminine nature. Anyways, can we just, yeah, okay. What was I saying about it? Yeah, so ecstasy of grief, like that. So that's what is happening here. That's the thing. All right. So let's take a look. Let's begin with chapter 3, text 1, 28 verses. How do we go about it? I may read some verses and I may go just with the translation, the purport. Now, so another way of looking at it, this is just a prelude to the 10th canto. Okay. So what we're going to study in the 10th canto has been given in prelude form here. If in case I get into each verse and to tell you about the storyline, the background story, the foreground story, the third chapter will just not end. It's just because here Uddhavji is just speaking out of ecstasy, so I would be intentionally skipping out details. We may just read details as much as it is in Prabhupada purpose. However, as our focus had been always largely, we will definitely draw out, if possible, some lessons for application. Text 1. Uddhavacha तथा स आगत्य पुरं सपित्रोस् चिकीर्षया शम्बलदेव संयुतः निपाततुङ्गात् रिपुयूतनाथं हतं वयकर्षद् वयसुम् ओजस urvyam. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter Lord Krishna went to Mathura. Sri Baldev went to please their parents. They dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, and they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. All right. Purport. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes are vividly and elaborately discussed in the 10th canto. Okay, we can have the screen sharing also. So screen sharing option is available. Anyone wants to share screen, they can. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes are vividly elaborately described in 10th canto. The Lord proved to be a worthy son of his parents, even at the age of 16 years. Both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Balram, or Baldev, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle. It's a very, very beautiful pastime. Very beautiful pastime. I remember during the COVID time, we have done this 10th canto. That was, at least for me, was a highlight. Every day we were reading, Monday to Friday, if I'm correct. There are so many things to read. God, I just wonder what we'll start next. Because after Bhagavad Gita early morning reading, I'm thinking, let's start Madhya Leela. I was thinking, what, 30-40 minutes too less. Why don't we do in the afternoon 1 hour every day? And I thought, oh yeah, 1 hour who will commit? At times there is no space to breathe also. Now if I commit for 1 hour every day, it'll be very difficult. Now just getting into this purport, I was immediately reminded of our COVID time study of 10th canto. I was like, wow, why don't we start 10th canto also? But where is the time? But koi baat nahi, we can be just happy about the prospect that one day, someday in future, we'll do that. Anyways, it's a very, very sweet, this whole thing, how Krishna Balaram comes from Vrindavan to Mathura and what all happens. Fantastic section, fantastic. The maternal uncle, by the way, Janmashtami is coming. I guess we should start 10th canto probably. We'll think about it. Okay, anyway, the maternal uncle who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudeva never thought that Krishna Balaram would be able to kill such a great and strong enemy. When the two brothers attacked Kamsa on the throne, their parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get the opportunity to kill their sons, whom they had hidden for so long in the house in Nanda Maharaj. The parents of the Lord, due to parental affection, felt extreme danger, and they almost fainted, just to convince them that they had actually killed Kamsa. Krishna and Baldev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them. So, again, Krishna's pastime or Lord's pastime defies logic. Just to give you one illogical act which is happening here. Illogical act is not from the rasa point of view, but from our mundane perspective. Now, Vasudeva and Devaki saw Chaturvyo form of the Lord. Lord had appeared as 400. They saw that. On top of it, Vasudeva saw when Krishna said, okay, no, Devaki requested, my dear Lord, Kamsa, we know you have appeared, so please become 200. So Lord became 200. And then the Lord said, Vasudev, Krishna, or Vasudev said, take me to Gokul. And immediately all the jail keepers went to sleep. The prison door opened. Devaki seeing that all. Vasudev seeing all this miracle, all that. And top of it, they went and put Krishna there. And then Vasudev brought the girl child, the girl child. And when Kamsa got to know, the Kamsa came to kill her. Right in front of Vasudevaki, he lifted the baby, the child, with the feet. This is how he would, catch the feet and smash it on the stone right in the prison house, right in that cell. And he did that. And right in front of Vasudeva and Devaki, the girl slipped out of the hand of Kamsa and took a 12-handed Durga form. Who is seeing all this? Vasudevaki. What Durga said? Your death personified have already appeared. ये sound कहाँ से आ रहा है? Okay, 1 second. Your death personified has already appeared, like that. So Vasudevaki is seeing this. They personally saw, they personally heard from no ordinary person but from Durga. Now here, for Vasudeva and Devaki to be frightened that our Krishna and Balaram would be killed by Kamsa, is it logical, illogical? Is it logical, illogical? Logical, illogical. You have seen the Lord personally present. You have heard from Durga Devi, no other than Durga Devi. Well, yet Vasudeva and Devaki are fearing for the protection of Krishna and Balaram. Does it make sense? Huh? Okay, I thought you said illusion. So the reason I made this point, these things, for example, let's go back to Lord Ram for a second. People raise so many questions about Lord Ram's pastime. How some say he was insecure, some say he couldn't protect his wife, etc., etc. But people fail to understand the Lord comes to perform his pastimes here. Pastimes for whom? He doesn't perform pastimes for non-devotees, because non-devotees can never fathom in that form. What is that? Avajanantama mudha manashantanam ashita. 9th chapter, verse number 11 and 12, Krishna talks about it. So he comes and performs pastime for whom? Only for devotees. Machitta madgata parana bodhiyanta parasparam. And the devotees sit and discuss and relish. Oh, my Lord did this. Now imagine if Lord Ram would have walked straight to Lanka, killed Ravana. Would there have been much adventure? There could have been some adventure, but not much thrill. There could have been some thrill, but could not have been emotions. Yes? Now Lord Ram went, and then Mother Sita gets kidnapped. There is emotional upheaval in the mind and the heart of a devotee. Oh, my Mother Sita has been kidnapped. That people don't understand. So these are all rasa shastras, they arouse great feelings of, or the emotions for the God, for the Lord, to be precise. I don't like the word God. It reminds of Western theology. Lord is a better word. So it arouses emotions for Lord. That's the whole thing. So when we are reading it, please do not bring your logical mindset. See that Lord has performed all this thing for the pleasure of the devotees. The devotees can keep on discussing, just like you go and watch a movie. If it is only purely action, okay, fantastic action, but every action movie would still have some romance. When you call it as a genre of action, why do you put a romance into it? Isn't it? Why? Because people like emotions. So now imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ras Raj, the personification of all emotions. If he comes and presents a flop movie, he can never give you a flop movie. He'll only meant to give you a blockbuster. He only meant to give you a blockbuster. Can have a flop movie. And the blockbuster movie, well, some of are out of tune with any blockbuster movie in that sense. But remember, let's say Sholay. I saw it many times. Not because I really liked it. It's just whenever you were idle and you switch on the TV in those days, one movie would play again and again. That was Sholay. So that's the reason I saw it. Had everything. Had revenge, had action, had romance, had friendship, had parental affection. माँ भी थी ना उन दोनों की, जया वीरू की, right? Jaya Viru, I believe, na? Something like that. Hema Malini was a girlfriend, Hema Malini or something, Rekha something was, and that was a blockbuster movie. So now imagine the Lord comes here and he gives you a dry movie. Only Mayavadis can give you a dry movie. They make a dry movie out of Lord's beautiful pastimes and say that this is not happening. So see from that perspective, okay? Text number 2. Sandipane Sukrat Proktam Brahmaditya Swavistaram Tasmai Pradadvaram Putram Mritam Panchajanodarat. The Lord learned all the Vedas with the different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the reign of Yamloka, like this. Very beautiful point Prabhupada writes in the purport. So what is happening in this story briefly is Lord came to what modern day Ujjain, where we have Sandipani Muni Ashram. This is post Mathura pastime. Lord had nearly stayed for around 2 years approximately in Mathura, and then around the age of 13 he came along with Balram, which actually Vasudev arranged for that they go and take Gurukul training. Vaishyas didn't go for Gurukul training, but they're Kshatriya now. The son of Kshatriya. Everyone knows they're the son of Vasudeva Devaki. So they came for Gurukul training at Ujjain, Sandipani Muni's ashram, like that. And they took the training. That's the time where we had this beautiful pastime of Kya naam hai hamara? Sudama. That's the time they met Sudama, etc. All those things happens. So when Lord, or let's say when Sandipani Muni rendered that service to the Lord, so Prabhupada makes a very beautiful point at the end of the purport. The Lord is not, therefore, an ingrate to anyone who renders him some sort of service. Ingrate means ungrateful. This is some old English. So Lord is never ungrateful to those who render any service. Chapter number 2, text number 43, some 40 something. Neha vikramana ashvasi pratyavayana vite swalpamasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhaya. The Lord is so grateful. If somebody renders any service, insignificant service also can protect you from the greatest danger. Here, Sandipani Muni and his wife was in great danger because they have lost their son. He disappeared, suddenly disappeared. How he disappeared? As much as once Nanda Baba disappeared. Nanda Baba went for early morning bath. This was around Kartik or the Chaturmas month. He went for early bath. Too early, in fact. He went for that. And if there is some, there's some Shastric injunctions when to take bath, not to take bath. Brahma Muhurta is a time to take bath, not too early also, etc. Not to go into the river. But he went in the right time. There was some confusion. And he went to take bath, but he never came out. Never came out. And there was a whole halchal. And finally, Krishna actually went. He dived into it and then he went to Varuna Loka and brought his father from Varuna. Similarly, it happened over here. The son disappeared. The last he was seen somewhere at the ocean bank. So Lord Krishna searched for everywhere. Anyways, that's the whole story. Finally, Krishna brought him back from the Yamloka, like that. So Prabhupada says, the devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. This Shraddha we need to have. This faith we need to have. Krishna will protect me. Even those who are not doing anything for Krishna, still Krishna is protecting them. Who's ensuring your heartbeat? Who's ensuring your lungs or kidney filters and oxygenate? Yes or no? Who's making sure your bowels movements are happening? Does any one of you control your passage of urine or the waste from your body? Anyone here? And imagine if it doesn't happen, what will happen? Isn't it? You'll be seriously sickly or diseased, and within a short while you'll die. So who's ensuring the passage of the waste from the body? So if Krishna is already can provide and protect for those who are not even not to call them non-devotee also, the gone cases, why not Krishna would protect those who are serving Krishna? That's the point here. Text number 3. Translation will read now. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmani, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. Lord Krishna, stepping over other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. So, long story short, Rukmani's brother Rukmi was a friend to Shishupal. This is how the bad association resulted into. Now, Rukmani wants to get married to Krishna. Can anyone be a better spouse or a groom than Krishna? You know? And Rukmani's father is also in favor of it. But Rukmi is not in favor. No, कृष्णा के संग शादी नहीं होगी. और उसने किस गधे को ढूंढा? शिशुपाल. उसको कोई और मिला भी नहीं. हाँ? Thank God he didn't select Duryodhana. But both of them are same category. Among all the princes, he found whom for Rukmani? Shishupal. Shishupal se hi shaadi hogi. This is what happens in a bad association like that. So that's what happened. And now there's an interesting thing. People say, oh, in Vedic culture, women are made to really, they're not given any freedom, etc., etc., like that. You know, for example, ऐसे Mother Sita, they say, see, Ram ने Mother Sita की अग्नि परीक्षा कराई. Matter of fact, that is not correct. Ram never said for Sita Agni Pariksha. We never say that out in public because people will misunderstand unless you're really speaking on Ramayana. The conversation that happened between Sita and Ram is such: when Sita was brought in, when Ram saw Sita, then there was a kind of, our Sugriv, right? No, not Sugriv. Vibhishan, and Sugriv actually, he told all the monkeys, Sita is coming. Sorry. She was brought in a palanquin. So then Lord said, okay, let palanquin stop there. Ask Mother Sita, I'm saying Mother Sita. Ram said, ask Sita to come. And Sugriva was shocked. She is a princess, she is a queen. Lady is never brought in public. And then all the Vanaras, everyone is going to see. Lord Ram said, no, she should come like this. So when she came in front, what Lord Ram said is, all right, I have released you now, you can walk away. That is what Lord Ram said. Now that is a little brutal. This is a little horrific to say. Now you walk away. Now, if you look at that's Treta Yuga. Let's come back to Dwapar Yuga. When Amba confessed to Bhishma that I'm in love with, the son of the Shalya, the son of Varanasi or something. So Vishnu said, okay, go back. When she went back, what did he say? What did the lover said? Well, I cannot accept you. First, you have been touched by another man. Second, I have lost you. According to the codes of, the marriages that used to happen in those days, you have to go back. People today, so-called love, which does not exist. So-called on the name of love, people fight with their family. They run away from their family. And this fellow, the lover, is coming back and saying, I will not accept. Now go back in Treta Yuga. How stringent the society would be in terms of the character, integrity and whatnot. Ram said, I have done my dharma of a husband. Now you walk away. It was Sita said, because my chastity has been doubted. And I understand why Ram, because he is the Lord, he is a king. Let me prove my chastity. Lakshman, set a fire. I will either commit suicide or else I will do Agni Pariksha. If I succeed in Agni Pariksha, that's an evidence who I am. She didn't have to say all this thing because it was known what Agni Pariksha meant that time. And Lakshman had to do, he had tears in his eyes. What Ram? Ram should say no. So Ram was supposed to stop Sita from that Agni Pariksha. Lakshman looking at Ram, what is happening? Ram didn't say. So anyways, the point I brought in here is, here now what you see in this third verse is about Rukmini writing a love letter. Now if you say in the Vedic times the girls were not given rights and all that, this is totally wrong education. Not only that, Mother Sita selected Ram, Swayambar. Swayambar was organized where the girl would select the groom. And how old used to be the bride? 6 years, 7 years. When Mother Sita got married, she was 6-year-old. और 6 साल की लड़की से बोलो लड़का सेलेक्ट करो, probably today's time she will see कौन मेरे लिए अच्छा खिलौना लेकर आया है, who has brought a big Barbie doll for me, I'll go with that boy. I mean, from today's perspective, you cannot understand this. I can only say that at that point in time, there would have been certain maturity. Of course, it is not that the girl was thrown out in the wilderness, you select a boy. The father would put a competition, terms and condition. If the boy is able to prove his mettle, then that thing would happen. Anyways, long story short, the point is, don't be surprised when you see, अच्छा पुराने जमाने में भी लड़की ऐसी करती थी, लव लेटर लिखती थी, मतलब क्या है? You know, we are come from a society where the equal rights were given. However, just like engineer has a certain job to perform, doctor has a certain job to perform, similarly, a lady is expected to live in a certain way, a man is supposed to live in a certain way. That's the only thing. What is the thing with Vedic culture is, Vedic culture very clearly defines the roles and responsibilities. Only then any organization can be successful, yes or no? Imagine you're working for a big company. You know, your HR is acting as sometimes as a manager, sometimes a project lead, sometimes as a junior engineer, sometimes as a gatekeeper, sometimes as a security guard, sometimes as a patrolling man. I mean, if imagine the fellow keeps on changing role and everyone is doing anything. Okay, आज मेरा मन कर रहा है security guard बनूंगा, आज मैं CEO बनूंगा. Would company run? Think about it. It is full failure. So this is what the failure of current society. People don't know how to live. Man doesn't know how to live, the woman doesn't know how to live, but Vedic culture was completely compartmentalized. Everyone knew what has to be done, what is my dharma. Therefore, there was no confusion in the past. So all the confusion happening today, because everyone says, it is my constitutional right. कुछ भी बोलूंगा, कुछ भी करूंगा, कुछ भी पहनूंगा. अभी तो पहनने को लिए भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट आ गया है, अभी पहनने को नहीं, अभी कह रहे हैं नहीं पहनने को भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है. दिस इज हाउ द डिग्रेडेशन हैव हैपेंड. क्रेजी पीपल लाइक दिस. सो द वैदिक कल्चर डिफाइंड एवरीथिंग and then only society can grow. Then only there could be in harmony. Imagine you end up in a corporation where everyone is changing role. Today you are told, okay, Agnel, welcome. Now you're not a junior engineer, today you're a project manager. Right? Project manager. Tomorrow you're a gatekeeper. Right? Gatekeeper. Every day if you change your role, you'll go crazy. So this is a pure lack of education, and of course you have to give credit to the Western influence and of course influence of Islamic invaders, because of which we have thought, we kind of just lost, and we think what the advanced civilization to be, some Stone Age era. It's not like that. Text number 4. Now about another marriage is being discussed here. Nagnajiti. By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnajiti in the open competition to select a bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed, ordered all of them, but he was not hurt himself. So if any one of you thought, I don't know about Maharashtra and South, in North India, why Barat wale din jhagda kyun hota hai? How many of you have seen jhagda on the day of Barat? Thank God only jhagda ho raha hai. Yahan to goliyan chal jati thi. I mean, this has really kind of, still a subject matter for me to really, I mean, on the auspicious occasion of marriage, there is a bloodshed. There is a marriage of Krishna's grandson with the daughter of Rukmi. And Balramji and Rukmi are having a dice game. And Rukmi is accompanied with another of his bad associate. And they try to cheat Balramji. This is just a day before marriage. Balramji को गुस्सा आता है, मुक्का मार देते मुंह पे. Rukmi dies. Father-in-law died before the day of marriage. And interestingly, किसी ने ये नहीं कहा 7.5 ही अपशगुन हो गया है, 1 साल के लिए शादी नहीं होगी. If somebody dies today in a family, जैसे शादी नहीं होगी. अबे लड़की के पिता को मार दिया है. और किसने? जेठ जी ने. ताऊ जी ने, whatever you call it. And the marriage is happening. I mean, this is interesting. You see, what will happen during the Swayambars? Full fight. Of course, this is not that all the fight. This is Kshatriya class fight is being discussed. So, उनका होता ही था, बवाल मचता था. I mean, no Kshatriya marriage could happen without bloodshed. Evidence क्या मिलेगा Kshatriya की शादी हुई है? जैसे आज किसी रईस आदमी की शादी होती है, तो बड़ा शादी होता है. हंगामा मचता है, तो फिर एविडेंस मिलता है कि भाई उस व्यक्ति ने 10 करोड़ खर्च करे, मतलब बड़ी शादी थी. What is the evidence Satya got married? At least 1 dozen people should die on the day of marriage or before marriage, or maybe right after marriage. Then it can be said, yeah, the girl got married to real Kshatriya. So that's the only thing. Text number 5. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back Parijata tree from heaven. For whom did Lord brought Parijata tree? What queen? Satyabhama. Just as an ordinary husband would do, but Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him. Now, this is a very interesting pastime. We have discussed this. We discussed Vrindavan, and also we discussed about Dwarka. I believe we discussed Vrindavan, but we definitely discussed a lot from Mathura to. We started our study from Mathura to Dwarka thing. Now, in this pastime, Krishna is called as hand-pegged husband. But actually, who is hand-pegged husband? It is Indra. Why? Indra had already come and asked for forgiveness because that Govardhan Leela pastime was already done. Yes? Govardhan pastime हो चुका है, ब्रह्मा जी से डांट खा चुका है, सुरभि मैया से भी डांट खाई. He understood Krishna as a supreme personality Godhead. Now this is the meaning of hand-pegged husband, where he knows who has taken the tree. Who? Krishna. To whom it belongs? Krishna. But the wife becomes upset. How did this man take a tree from our garden? Then it's not that there was only one tree. Indra had a garden full of Parijata trees. But the insecurity in ladies can really cross all the heights. And she became so insecure. She said, hey, how did he took this Parijata? Now, who is hand-pegged husband? Hand-pegged husband means one who does not have any intelligence, who does not have any ability to think. Now, Indra goes to fight with Krishna. He forgot. He's having a relapse to his past conditionings. So anyways, we had discussed on this whole concept of hand-pegged husband at that time. So like this. So a very interesting thing Prabhupada mentioned in the second paragraph. There was no fault on the part of the Lord, even though he took away the tree from the heavenly kingdom, but because Indra was hand-pegged, dominated by his beautiful wives like Sachi, he became a fool. Just as all persons who are dominated by their wives are generally foolish. Okay, like this. And Indra was thinking, what was Indra thinking? Indra thinking, Krishna is a hand-pegged husband. Because Satyabhama ne bola, isne kar diya. He didn't took a permission. So I should fight with him like that. He was thinking like that. Anyways, text number 6. Then it's about killing of Narkasura. Narkasura, the son of Dharitri or Devi what do you say? Dharti, like that. The earth tried to grasp the whole sky. For this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. He was actually son of whom? Narkasura was the son of Varahadevi and Bhumi Devi, which means Lord himself. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narkasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. And that's the time where he accepted 16,100 devotees of his and accepted them in relationship of marital relationship like that. And this is a very interesting pastime. It's called Narkasura. Now, this, being the son of the God, not God, the Lord, being the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how can somebody become a demon? Interesting. And this pastime is a very important pastime which teaches Prabhupada writes in the last line. Even he was Bhaumasur, who later on became Narkasura. Even a direct son of the Lord, if it's put into a bad association, can lose all the divine or divinity like that. So it was put into one-to-one, back-to-back bad association like that. So that's the whole thing. Text number 7. Then in the house of the demon, all the princes kidnapped by Narkasura at once become alert. So that's the point is mentioned that now Krishna accepted, like this. And Prabhupada talks about in the Vedic culture, the role of woman. Text number 8. All those princes were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different body. So now Lord got married. Text number 8 talks about Lord had 16,100 wives, and each of them were kept in one BHK apartment. And 16,000 रानियां एक किचन में कुकिंग कर रही थी, 16,000 ब्रेकफास्ट बन रहे थे. This is Kali Yuga marriage. But in Dwapar Yuga, Lord built, he didn't purchase 16,100 one BHK apartment. The man becomes very envious. Hey, कृष्ण ने इतना करा, अपने को एक लेने को भी मना करते हो, कहते हो ब्रह्मचारी बन जाओ. I mean, what's your capacity? You talk about your capacity. You buy a 1 BHK for the next 30 years, you keep paying EMI on that. What's your capacity in today's time? And the fellow is competing with the Lord. So, anyways, so here Prabhu mentioned, the verse mentioned that how Lord built palaces. Everyone lived in a palace like that is described here. Text number 9. Just to explain himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offspring with exactly his own qualities. And not only that, he offered individual palaces to each of the queen, but he expanded himself in that many forms. So the Lord was there with each queen, every night. In the sense, every day, that way. And from each princess or the queen, Lord had 10 sons. Like that. Now people say population is increasing today. I mean, how can you have population increase today when one individual in those days got married to 16,000? I mean, Kshatriyas were known for having multiple queens, right? Multiple queens. How can you have poor fellow today by the age of 30, 35 also doesn't get married? And you're talking about population is increasing. Everywhere there's a discussion, there is a decline in population. If you see, because there is no kids are being born. For example, you say talk about Japan, you talk about Canada, you talk about America, you talk about China. China have reduced, that's whatever it is. Now, wherever you have destroyed the culture, the population is going down. But what it tells you? Population explosion, population explosion. There's the explosion happening only in your mind, not on the ground. Now, look at how small was Krishna's family. 16,108 पत्नियां, उनके 10 पुत्र, तो कितने पुत्र हो गए? 16,108 मतलब 1.6, right? 1.6 lakh was sons, not sons. They got married. Imagine if they got married to two princes. So, and from two princes, if they had, let's say, 10 sons. I mean, look back in your own family. You go few generations before. How many, your grandmother had how many sons and daughters? Everyone had a cricket team within their house. If not the football team. Yes. Everyone was close to double digit. Yes? Agreed upon it. You go 3-4 generations back. Everyone had that. Now you go back 5,000 years back. So they didn't have a cricket team. They had a whole stadium in house. I mean, imagine Krishna has 1.6 lakh sons. They get married. Each of them have 10 sons. This goes to 1.6 crore, 1.5 crore like that. Who? Krishna. Balram ki to kahani shuru nahi hui abhi. So how can somebody say today population is increasing? Do you see the disease is a falsehood here? Here a man is not even able to procreate because of the lifestyle today. When I was here in Bombay recently, when I went, our host was talking about this guy, Ambani ji, and they have their 2 younger son and daughter through IVF, right? What they call us? Test tube babies. Why? Because they couldn't procreate. They have to test tube baby because you're engineering lifestyle and all that. Literally, I've made a man and woman impotent. I mean, in this condition, you say population is increasing. How? I mean, for you to believe. I mean, you are stamping on your head that I'm the bornful. All the evidence is against it. And people say there's population explosion. I don't know, how can there's population explosion? And we're talking about population like this. 60 crore people died at the battlefield of Mahabharat. What is the world population? 700 crore today. 700, 800 crore population. In the battlefield, 60 crore people died. Think about it. Where battlefield was happening, it was not a world war, where all the countries were fighting with each other in different pieces of land. The battle happened only at Kurukshetra boundary, at the land of Kurukshetra. At the land of Kurukshetra, 60 crore log ikhatta ho gaye. What is the population of India? 120 crores? Okay. With passage of time, 20 crore बढ़ गया चलो. Okay. 140 crore. 60 crore people had assembled at Kurukshetra. We go for this Dindi Yatra, and right before Pandharpur, there is a town comes where the Tukaram's Dindi and what is that? Namdev Baba's Dindi, Ganeshwar Maharaj Dindi, they come together. You don't have place to sleep, and there will be only 7-8 lakh people. I've shared my experience how two people were sleeping on my body in the night. There was no space. Now, how you have 60 crore people at the place called Kurukshetra? So, I mean, this is beyond it. And people say because they cannot understand it. It is just almost like, just like one of my manager was in the past was talking to me when we were on lunch together. Why you don't eat meat? I don't want to eat. Are you should eat meat. I said, you give me a good reason why should I eat meat. He said, see, if you don't kill animals and eat, then the population of animals in the forest will increase. Where are you heading to? The population, वहां बैठी तेरे घर में जा रहा है. Well, population will increase. He was a Wall Street Journal, he used to come on these big publications and noted as a, security officer, a chief strategist in the domain of security. He has written books. So accepted intellectual in the society tells me population of animals will increase. मैंने कहा अच्छा बोल आगे बोल क्या होगा फिर? But when the population of animals will increase, then where would they go? They'll run to the city. Acha, they'll run to the city. What will happen? And when they will run to the city, then they will attack our family members in our homes. To protect our family, we should kill animals and eat animals. मैंने कहा यार मेरे को indigestion हो जाएगा, juice पीने दे. This is your society is made up of. And what all this speak of. Anyways, text number 10. Where were we? 9, yeah? Text number 10. Kalyavan, the king of Magad, and Salva attacked the city of Mathura. But when the city was encircled by the soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally, just to show the power of his own man. So this is the main aspect of this discussion where Lord did not kill Kalyavan. Various reasons. Maybe Kalyavan didn't deserve to be killed by the Lord. Otherwise, he would have got moksha. You need to have at least that much impiety, piety, whatever is required to be killed by the Lord. So Kalyavan didn't have. Second thing is, Lord wanted to give credit to his long-awaiting devotee. That was Muchkunda. So that's the point here. Lord likes to give. Okay, let me put it this way. I believe in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we were discussing about it. It was there only, as said, probably. Or maybe somewhere else. Or maybe somewhere else in Bhagavad Gita, we're discussing that what it means to be a follower. What it means to be a follower. Follow means to imbibe the qualities of the person who we are following, isn't it? So when we're reading scriptures, we should also learn to imbibe the qualities, which are beneficial for us and our relationship. Just like Lord loves to give credit. Similarly, we should learn to give credit. We should not strive to take credit. We should not be so insecure कि सब मैं अपने पास रखूंगा. No, we should learn to give credit. And simultaneously, we should be patient enough to get due credit. Both the things. One, we should give credit, empower others to render services. Second, we should be patient enough in our senior relationship that with time, I'll get recognition. When we are in this circle, we are okay. But the moment the senior comes, people become very restless. Oh, why this person is getting all the recognition? I should also get recognition. My spiritual master come. My spiritual master should know how much service I'm doing under this senior. And when you're there with your senior, you're saying, Prabhu, you are everything for me. You are my caretaker. You are my Shiksha Guru. When Diksha Guru comes, then Shiksha Guru kya bhaar mein. So this is insecure mindset. So we should do both of them. Learn to give credit and also wait for our due credit. Text number 11. O kings like Shambhala, Dvida, Bana, Mur, Balwala, many of the demons such as Dantavakra were either killed by the Lord or killed by like Lord Balram. Text number 12. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that earth seemed to shake as they traversed the warfield. 13. Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacies of ill advice given by Karna, Dusashana, and Saubala. When he lay on the ground with the followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see this. That's interesting. But the Lord was not happy. Two things Prabhupada mentioned. First, Mama Vamsa Jiva Loka, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Each one of us are part and parcel of the Lord. I often make a point in this context. What Krishna wants you to learn from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna wants you to become happy. And to make you happy, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. So why Krishna was disappointed or sad seeing the condition of Duryodhana? Because Duryodhana is also his part and parcel. और किसी पर neighbor का लड़का थोड़ा ना है. There's only one Lord. Everyone is a part and parcel of the Lord. So Lord was sad to see that my part and parcel has to suffer like this. Like any father and mother would be sad to see their son or daughter suffer. And the second reason which is mentioned why Lord was sad, although the war of Kurukshetra has ended, although the great warriors have died on the battlefield, yet the great warriors of the Yadu Vamshas were still living. And that was also a threat, for the things that had to happen. So Lord was thinking, everything has been settled, but Yadu Vamshas are not yet settled. That's the point here. Text number 14. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of this great burden, 18 Akshahanis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhishma. But what is this? There's still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be more unbearable burden, like that. Very beautiful purport. I won't have a time, but I can just, like, purport talks about, So first of all, Yadu Vamsas were not the burden. They were in fact the burden of love. Lord wanted them also to conclude the past and go back. If how to, because they were so powerful, there could be nobody who could defeat them. And most of them were incarnations of Vishnu, manifestations. When would the Leela end? So therefore, it's the burden of love, as Prabhupada writes. Now, this purport is a fantastic purpose. Purport. I mean, let me do one thing. Let's do one thing. We'll do this chapter in few times, or one time or two times. We'll go with that. Let's focus on the purport. Why to rush through with it? So, purport. It is a wrong theory that due to an increase in population, the world becomes overburdened. And therefore, there was another annihilating process. It is a wrong theory. Never possible. The earth is never overburdened. Why earth is never overburdened? Any quick thought? Why the earth is never overburdened? We are getting? We're getting produced from earth. Why earth can never be overburdened? We'll be dying. Why earth can never be overburdened? Because it is? Oh, okay. You're getting close. What is that shloka? Gama vishya cha bhutani dharyami ahamojasa. So who's managing this earth? Who's holding it its position? Ahamojasa. So you think the earth will become overburdened. You're declaring in one way that you can overburden the Lord. This is atheism. You got it? Dharami, it is my energy. The Prabhupada is saying the earth is never overburdened. Yes, you may, because of your sinful activities, may force Daitri or Mata Dharti to withdraw the resources from you, just like it happened under the rule of King Vena. And when Prithu Maharaj came, because of the sinful activities of King Vena, Mother Earth had withdrawn all the resources. And there was nothing to eat. There was no water to drink. There was just starvation. What do you say? Not starvation. What do you say? Famine. There was nothing. And then Prithu Maharaj had to urge Mother Earth to do that. And it happened. That can happen. But the thing, because we are building high-rise building, then Earth will go off its orbit. That's not going to happen. Prabhupada says, अबे तू छोटी बिल्डिंग को बना के सोच रहा है हिमालय खड़ा हुआ है यहाँ पर The heaviest mountains and the ocean on the face of the earth hold more living entities, and they are all human beings. What a fantastic point. The mountains and the ocean contains far much more greater human beings than all of you on the planet, on the surface, and they are not overburdened. If a census were taken of all the living beings on the surface of the earth, certainly it would be found that the number of humans is not even 5% of the total number of living beings. If the birth rate of human beings is increasing, then the birth rate of the living beings is increasing proportionately. The birth rate of lower animals, beasts, aquatics, birds, etc. is far greater than that of human beings. There is an adequate arrangement for food for all the living beings all over the earth by the order of the Supreme Lord. And he can arrange more and more if there is actually this proportionate increase of living beings. So Prabhupada is saying, well, why do you worry? Krishna is providing. And if in case it happens that population बढ़ गया है, Krishna would ensure the plants give you more, the crops gives you more vegetables, whatever, you have more vegetables like that. So therefore, there is no question of increase in population causing a burden. The earth becomes overburdened. Now, yes, earth becomes overburdened when the earth becomes overburdened due to dharma glani, or irregular discharge of the Lord's desire. The Lord appeared on the earth to curb the increase in miscreants and not the increase in population. So, very interesting point. So the earth was overburdened. So Lord came and he wiped out 60 crore people, so there will be less population and the burden will reduce. No, that's not the point. What did Lord do? Dharmaglani, he wiped off all miscreants. like that. Then next paragraph, therefore, although there may be great increase in population on the surface of earth, if the people are exactly in line with God consciousness and are not miscreants, such a burden on the earth is a source of pleasure for Dharti, Bhudevi. There are two kinds of burdens. Mark it for yourself. There is a burden of the beast and burden of love. The burden of the beast is unbearable, but the burden of love is a source of great pleasure. Burden of love. Therefore, disciple is supposed to carry on the mission of his spiritual master as a burden of love. Even we dislike it, but I need to do it. Why? So just like Srila Prabhupada's disciples carrying the burden of love, managing his ISKCON, a fledgling society. Prabhupada left it in a very fledgling situation. I mean, fledgling society means Prabhupada didn't left it that way. I'm going to say the followers were fledgling. They were, 10 years into maximum. How many were in 10 years? Less than that. Handful of us seniors like that. And Prabhupada left. Like, for example, how many of you are here close to practicing devotional life for, let's say, 10 years? Raise your hands. Close to. How many of you have been practicing devotional life here 8 years and more? Okay. Imagine, Pranjal Prabhu is made the GBC of ISKCON. What do you think what's going to happen to ISKCON? Will excel the expectation of Srila Prabhupada and all predecessor acharyas, will break all the records. The record which even they would not have dreamt could possible happen. Yes sir, no, think about it. If imagine any one of us is given the responsibility, what would happen? But they did it. Imagine, let's say Pranjal Prabhu, some of you, all of you, let's say for that reason, you are made the global, governing body commissioner, where you have to decide for the well-being of all. And you're still struggling with your anarthas, inefficiencies, and desires, name, fame, recognition. Now, how many of you agree there will be a lot of conflict within the leaders only? Yes or no? Think about it. Now, you may be like of sadhu type. Arey yaar, mujhe nahi karne ka jhamele padna hai. I'll be happy with my one ashram. Let me do my prachar. Let me be happy. Fine. But you know that if you leave that group, then rest of the people will really destroy ISKCON. What would you do? I know it is a burden, but I would bear this burden because ISKCON is Srila Prabhupada's body, and it is a son responsibility to serve the body of the Father. So I would not give it up in any condition. Now, what do you speak about this person? Does he deserve going back home, back to Godhead? He'll get a red carpet welcome from his spiritual master. Those who are just dancing on the fringe kirtans and all that, God knows where you're heading to. Unless there is a sacrifice, unless you have taken a responsibility to carry the burden of parampara, then you see how Lord will be pleased. So that's what is being discussed here. You can carry a burden of family, you can carry a burden of love, for spiritual master. You pick a choice. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti describes the burden of love very practically. He says the burden of the husband on the young wife, the burden of the child on the lap of the mother, and the burden of wealth on the businessman. All the actually burdens from the viewpoint of heaviness are sources of pleasure. In the absence of such burdensome objects, one may feel the burden of separation, which is heavier to bear than the actual burden of love. Example, pregnancy, giving birth is a very painful experience. As it is described, for mother to hold a child in womb and then the whole process of the delivery of the child. And these days is more painful because hardly any natural birth happens now. Yet the mother and father is willing to undergo that pain, to have one child, two child, three child, isn't it? That's a burden of love. We want to have it, because otherwise we feel a sense of emptiness. That's a point is being mentioned here. When Lord Shri Krishna referred to the burden of the Yadu dynasty on the earth, he referred to something different than the burden of the beast. The large numbers of family members born of Lord Krishna counted to some millions and was certainly a great increase in the population of the earth. Because all of them were expansion, the Lord himself by his transcendental planetary expansion, they were a source of great pleasure for the earth. When the Lord referred to them in connection with the burden of the earth, he had in mind the imminent disappearance from the earth. All the members of the family of Lord Krishna were incarnations of different demigods, and they were to disappear from the surface of the earth along with the Lord. When he referred to the unbearable heaviness on the earth in connection with the Yadu dynasty, he was referring to the burden of their separation. Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this inference. And how did they disappear? That whole pastime is discussed. We've discussed in the first canto already. That is mentioned in 15th verse. When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. So they have to fight with each other only. Nobody else can destroy them. Text number 16. Lord Shri Krishna was thinking to himself, establish Maharaj Yudhishthira in the position of supreme control of the world in order to show the ideal of administration on the path of piety. Text number 17. The embryo of Puru's descendant, begotten by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burned by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord. First canto, we have discussed his whole story. Text number 18. The Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices. Maharaj Yudhishthira, constantly following Krishna, is about Rajasuya Yagya. He performed like that. 19. Simultaneously pursuing God and enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, strictly in the conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge, as enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy. Last few lines of the purport. Knowledge means to know that the mission of the human form of life is to end all miseries of mental existence, and that in spite of having to fulfill the bodily necessities in a regulated way, one must be detached from such animal life. Fulfilling the demands of the body is animal life, and fulfilling the mission of spiritual is the human mission. Text number 20, very beautiful, and we'll pause probably with this. Snigdha smitavalokena vacha piyushakalbaya charitrena vaddena sriniketana chatmana. This is about, as now conjugal affairs. He was there in his transcendent body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarine words, and his flawless character. Mark this purport as a very important purport for homework. Let's take one more. Let's finish this theme actually. Text number 21. The family life. The Lord enjoyed his pastime both in this world and other world's high planets, especially in the Sushma of the Yadu dynasty. At leisure hours offered by night, he enjoyed the friendship of conjugal love with women. During daytime, he was spending time with Yadu members, and in the night, he was spending time with his the spouses, like that. Text number 22. The Lord was thus engaged in house and life for many, many years, but he was at last, his detachment from effeminate sex life was fully manifested, like that. Important purport. Even though the Lord is never attached to any kind of material sex life, as a universal teacher, he made a household for many, many years, just to teach others how one should live in household life. Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that the word samajyata means fully exhibited. In all his activities while present on the earth, the Lord exhibited detachment. This was fully displayed when he wanted to teach by example that one should not remain attached to household life for all the days of one's life. One should naturally develop detachment as a matter of course. The Lord's detachment from household life does not indicate detachment from his eternal associates, the transcendental cowherd themselves. But the Lord desired to end his so-called attachment to 3 modes of material nature, like that. Text number 23. Daivadineshu kameshu daivadin swayam puman go vishtambeta yogena yogeshwaram anuvartaha. Every living entity is controlled by, so only devotees can understand this pastime, and I established that right in the beginning of discussion today. Every living entity is controlled by the supernatural force, and thus his sense enjoyment is also under the control of that supernatural force. No one therefore can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service. All right. There are only 4 verses remaining. I guess we'll pause here. We'll start from this, and we'll also take to the next chapter with the approaches of Maitreya next time. It's already close to 9:05. Hare Krishna. Jagadru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vidura Uddhav Samvada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining in for today's Bhagavatam discussion.